The Elisabeth Schwarzkopf I admired before I ever met is one of the greatest singers of the 20th century, pure and simple. When I sang for her the first time in classes, I was very young, and I sat in classes in America and watched her work meticulously, phrase by phrase, with every singer she had in front of her. And we were a good collection, so I didn't have to experience anything nasty. She was very demanding, but demanding from the point of view of what we were working on. I never saw her in my classes be the kind of person that I know that some people like to describe. And the people who didn't understand what we were doing and thought maybe she was too strict or she interrupted us too often simply don't understand the process of working on music. And I do feel good to be able to say that publicly once. That, just because you don't understand it or you don't like it, if you're not a musician or a singer, you may not actually know what's going on. We as singers knew exactly who we were trying to measure up to. And if she stopped you, she had damn good reason to. I never saw her do anything other than that. And when we worked privately, I remember one day we started at 11:30 or 12 in the morning and just worked through everything from Mahler and Strauss and Wolf and German stuff. And I was working on some recitals. I don't remember why it was just working. And at one point she sort of rubbed her eyes and said, "Oh my goodness, I didn't even offer you a cup of tea. Would you like a cup of tea?" And I said, "Well, actually, that'd be great, And so she looks at her watch and she said, "Oh, my watch is broken. It must be stopped." So she calls her lady out and she says, could you get us a couple of tea? And what time is it? I'm trying to keep track of my. She says, "Well, gehen die Frau, it's actually 4:45." We had just banged at it for 5 hours, and neither one of us noticed the time. That's the best story I can tell you. And then she put me in a taxi and paid for it and sent me back to my hotel. And she was like that. I learned so much from this woman. First time I did Fledermaus, she was the first person I called. And I said, "I have no idea about this style." And she's the one that told me about the language. She's the one that showed me how to sing Falke. And the do-we-do, Brüderlein, Brüderlein und Schwesterlein. Erst ist das heißt das Wort. Erst, not erst. Oh, it's fantastic. I miss her. I miss her enormously. I'm deeply grateful for the time I had with her. I know there are stories. I've seen the YouTube's moments, whatever. But, I was even in a room, I admit, when she asked a young girl whether she had any other interests other than singing. And the girl was, of course, shattered. But she was absolutely right. The older I get, the more I appreciate the directness of Martial Sanger, who slapped me upside the face and said, "Your undefended Geliebte is sung with such a great tone, I do not even know what to say to you." And I was so deeply insulted. I sulked for, 15 years, poor man. And he was absolutely right, The same thing with Elisabeth Schwarzkopf. I mean, sometimes you have to be brutally honest and say, "Look, I will work with you, but I want you to know my ears are not telling me that this has a future." That would maybe be my way of saying it. I've only had to ever say that one time, and it was one of the most difficult things I had to do.
And perhaps you would not ask it in public.
I certainly would not do it in public. But she was not a dragon. She was an immortal perfectionist, more ruthless to herself than anyone else she ever met in her life, I'm quite sure.